Today is July 25th, 2019. I'm going to do a quick garden review. On Saturday and Sunday, we did get rain. And before that, the temperatures were pretty hot, you know, getting up to around 100. But after the rain, a cold front kind of came in. So it's been kind of cool the last few days. And during the rain, I think Saturday night, Sunday, we ended up with about 4 inches. So that was a lot of rain. And I didn't water the garden, and I'm starting to water the garden today. So maybe yesterday I should have watered, but anyway, I've already watered the back, and now I've watered a good portion of the front. And here, let's do a quick update and see what's happening. So this is kind of what's left in the greenhouse. Not much. There is a pepper plant there and some lavender I need to plant out. So anyway, I just need to do it. I did plant a few things, and as you can see, I've got a lot of basil that needs to be harvested. I've got one pile of basil inside that's already drying out, and I think I picked it from these bushes over here. But look, that's a lot of basil, so I need to dry it out and store it. It's always good for cooking. Now, I did plant out a few of the bok choy and lavender. They're pretty small. I hope they grow. So we'll see. And again, the okra, it's loving this. It loves hot weather. So it's now on its where it likes to be. And we'll see what happens. It's still getting taller. Now, I've been eating corn every day, and so a lot of the corn has been picked. But you can still see I've got corn that I need to pick. Not a lot, but some. And then some that hasn't started to ripen. You know, they were planted different times. When there was a kind of a gap, I planted other seeds. So these rain barrels are actually pretty much full. I haven't used much of the water yet. Look at that. Cantaloupe. Can you see it? And then tomatoes. I've got tomatoes like crazy. And I've got cucumbers. So many cucumbers. I need to give them away. I need to find people who want cucumbers. I just picked them in the backyard, and I ended up with around 10, I think, or so. And you can see more tomatoes. And I'm sure there's more cucumbers in here if I can find them. This really is a nest. I had a little bit of a tragedy. I had one of my watermelons tied up in actually that basket, and I went to retie it and rearrange it, and well, it slipped, and the watermelon broke loose. And I didn't show you, did I? Oh, it's a pretty loud time here. But look at all of that. So this basil is desperate to be harvested, and you can see the seeds. When the seeds start drying, the leaves are going to be falling off real quick. But look, I took and I put the root. See that watermelon there? I don't know if that's going to do any good for it, but it's far from being ripe. I just put the stem in water, and it's been like that a couple of days now. So I know, kind of silly, but who knows? Maybe something good will happen. Maybe it'll ripen a little bit. But that was the watermelon I was trying to rearrange, and it slipped from my hands. Look at that. That's a beautiful cucumber. And I really do. I have so many cucumbers, and when I leave them in my fridge, they seem to freeze a bit. So I'm putting them out on my counter right now. There's 2 cucumbers. Now I did finally dig up this section of the rest of this. This was potatoes. So I got a few potatoes, the rest of these potatoes, and then in the backyard I have some potatoes. So we'll see. So these watermelon vines are really taking off. They love the heat. And you see that little watermelon? I showed you that one last week. It hasn't got that much bigger, but a bit bigger. So that's kind of how things are looking. I've got two beds that are now empty. These two. One had, I guess, garlic and potatoes in it over there. And this one just had potatoes. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in those beds. I need a plan. But look. Oh man, I've got so many tomatoes ripening over there. So that's going to be a lot of tomatoes. I mean, I'm a bit overwhelmed at the moment with tomatoes, but not a bad thing. But I do have extra tomatoes and cucumbers. And I'll have to come and look for cucumbers. Here, let me set this down. I'll set these here. And here are the potatoes that I dug up. And also these are from some buckets. So not a lot of potatoes, but a few. And then the onions, they were starting to fall over. So these are the ones in the front. And these are the beautiful onions. Those were the Alice Craig, something like that. So those are nice onions. So more basil. That's where those potatoes were in the buckets that I emptied out. There weren't a lot of potatoes in those buckets. Maybe 3 and then 4 potatoes per bucket. So that's 7 potatoes total. And I still have a bucket here. See this bucket? That one has to be emptied. So I have this bucket, and then I think there's a, yeah, going in and out here. And look at that. There we are, cantaloupe. Finally. I'm going to have a lot of cantaloupe. Now, remember I really planted a lot of cucumbers and cantaloupe because I was concerned that my vines may not make it. But right here, see it? Oh, it's starting to brown. So this bucket, that's now ready. That's now ready to be, oh, well, I'll come back and I'll empty that and see how many potatoes are in there. Catnip. So these are my peppers. Oh, look at that. That's my first flower. That's totally came into bloom, and that's looking beautiful. I'll have to take a picture also. And I've had a lot of cucumbers out here. I think there may be. Well, that's okay. I have so many cucumbers. It'll be. But look, another tomato coming ripe. So all of a sudden, my tomatoes are ripe, and I need to do something with them. I guess I need to can them. I need to give some to my neighbors. Okay, this is kind of what the front is looking like. Oh, and this is how the. Well, that one's still making it. And it looks like I've got a bit of cabbage there. But this is the out front flower garden. This is like a week old planting. And those tomatoes are taking off. And that pumpkin is now looking healthy. You see it? And these flowers, like soldiers. So we'll see what happens. But this is the out by the mailbox. So as you can see, some of my borage that I planted has grown. Here in a little bit you're going to see blue flowers on that. So there's a borage plant there, and now look. Now here's a watermelon I put into a sling. I'm not gonna mess with it. The last one I dropped. And here's another one in a sling, and then one on the ground. So it looks like I have 3 watermelons from this vine. And whoa. Yeah, that's a bit. And that one looks like it's dying. So it looks like I have 3 good watermelon. So that's kind of neat. Then I still have some lettuce here, and that lettuce is going to seed also. So I need to actually plant new lettuce. And as you can see, the pole beans. Now, this year the pole beans haven't done so well. I mean, they're covering the place, but the production of beans has been fairly low. Let's see if but there's some flowers there. So it may be in August that I'll see a huge growth. I have picked a few, not a lot, but you can see a couple hanging there. I guess I need to pick them. But anyway, that's kind of the beans have not been overwhelming, and I'm thinking about. You can see the peas have all, died, and I may replant peas. And there's another borage. See that one? Now I planted those. I bought the seed, and because they weren't coming back this year. So there's 2 there, and I think you see that borage right there. So there's 3, but that one's in the shade. It's not doing so well. So I got 3 borage plants that are growing. Fairly late in the year for them, but when they do come in the flowers, the bees will love them. So look at that. Oh, that's not good. Looks like I've got some bugs, June bugs, that need to be killed there. So that's not overwhelming, but there's a few. Now this is the back garden. I saw some flowers on the what is that, butternut squash, the other day, but I don't see. Well, we'll see what happens. Looks like I have 1 pepper there. Doesn't look that great. But look at this. The cantaloupe is looking very nice. And I need to water things today. You see that? So it looks like I have a few cantaloupe. And I think because of the I don't get that much sun back here, but I get some. And now the cucumbers, it looks like I've got, you see that one there? I have that one to pick. And there's one up here. There's another one. So I need to come back and pick these. The other thing is, again, well, that's been a disaster, hasn't it? I don't see any rice. So we'll see. I guess I may need to drain it. But look, I've got a couple of pumpkins. I mean, not pumpkins. I have a couple of watermelons that are, you see that one? And then there's one just on the other side. How do you like that? And then, look at that. A little cantaloupe. So that's pretty much what's happening in the back. Of course, I still have more cucumbers over here coming on. Lots of them. In fact, I need to give cucumbers away. That's a nice cucumber. Needs to get picked. I'm not sure why it's turning green so quick. But I have another one. So I haven't really picked out here. Oh, look at that one. How did that get so bright? So quick. Didn't take long, did it? So this is the back cucumbers. I'm trying to get a closer look at this guy. Well, you definitely want to pick them before they start turning that color. They'll usually get a little bit sour when they start turning colors. Okay, this is the backyard. This is the back garden. Well, I'm still in the back. I was starting to water a little bit, and look. You see, I had cucumbers in my peach tree. I was watering in there, and I bumped into something that shouldn't have been there. Okay. And the other thing is, I forgot to mention this, but my potatoes. Isn't that a disaster? Those squash. But my potatoes, these are like the last potato plants that I haven't dug up yet. You can see I dug up half of it. But the leaves are starting to turn brown. Definitely time to dig it up. So I dug up some in the front, and I'll show you them. But I still have this, and I think one other bucket. So here we are back in the secret garden, and of course the mustard garden, and we can see the mustard really coming up, and a bunch of weeds it looks like also. But the plants I planted, the flowers, look, they're getting big. In fact, two of them are starting to blossom. So can you see that? Anyway. There's a lot of mustard down there. Pepper and tomatoes on the ground. And then, of course, the pumpkins. I haven't been working back here lately, so there hasn't been much progress in terms of pushing back, the bushes and things. But we did get those that rain a few days ago, Saturday night and Sunday. We had like 4 inches plus altogether. And even though it's now Thursday, the plants still look pretty happy.